Hey guys, this is Heroic Flamingo and welcome to my Guild Wars 2 class guide for the Soulbeast. So in this video I'm going to be looking at the new and exclusive weapon for the Soulbeast and all of the individual weapon skills that gives you. I'll also be looking at the healing, utility and elite skills that the Soulbeast can use. I'll then be looking at how it overhauls the base mechanics for the Ranger, and then having a little look at the traits within the Specialization to see how you can customize your Soulbeast that little bit more. So if you're interested in playing as a Soulbeast, or if you already are and you want to know more, sit tight and we'll get started right now. Okay, so before we go into the detail, I just want to give you a quick profession overview for the Soulbeast. So the Soulbeast is the second elite specialization for the Ranger, and is unlocked in the Path of Fire expansion. The bond between a Soulbeast and their pet is so strong that they can become one in spirit. By channeling their pet, they become a single entity, attacking with fang-like dagger strikes and using the abilities of their companion and its archetype. So by choosing the Soulbeast, you unlock access to a new type of skill called stances, and you're also able to use a dagger in the main hand, which is a totally new and exclusive weapon. Also, one of the main things you get is the ability to use beast mode. So this allows you to actually merge with your pet and unlocks a whole host of new skills based on the type of pet that you merge with. So if you're interested in this, then keep watching and we'll get started right now. And the first thing we're going to have a look at is the weapon skills. Alright, so the first thing I want to have a look at is the brand new and exclusive weapon for the Soulbeast. So this is the main hand dagger, which is a melee weapon which gives you 3 brand new skills to have a look at. So we're going to have a look at these skills one by one and then demonstrate what they do. So your number 1 skill in the main hand dagger is a chain skill. So this is 4 different abilities that have to be done one after the other. So you want to let the chain play out because generally a lot of the damage and effects are weighted towards the final strike. So do bear that in mind and try not to interrupt it partway through. So these skills are Groundwork Gouge, Leading Swipe, Serpent Stab and Deadly Delivery. They're all 130 range, which means they have to be done from melee range, so you can't be doing this from far away, so you need to get right up close and personal. Let's have a little look. So the first one is swipe past your foe's defences, exposing their vulnerability. So this is going to damage up to 2 enemies from melee range and put vulnerability on them. The second one is rake your dagger across your foe, leaving them bleeding. So once again, melee range, 2 targets and puts bleeding on them. So far you've stuck vulnerability and bleeding. The third one, slash across your foe, poisoning them. Same again, but this puts poison on them. And then fourth one is strike deeply into your foe, inflicting multiple conditions. So same 2 targets from melee range, but this puts vulnerability, bleeding and poison. So by letting this chain play out, you're going to put vulnerability, bleeding and poison all on the enemy, all doing damage over time or making them more susceptible to damage. And then with your final strike, you're going to put another stack of all 3 on them with 1 hit. So you let that play out, you're going to have at least a couple of stacks of each of those on the enemy. So it's a pretty cool one because it's going to make them take more damage, but it's also going to do damage over time, so it's quite a good thing to start with and stick the conditions on the enemy. So let's have a little go with this and try it out, see what it does. And as we can see, there you go, look. If I let it play out a few times, you see we'll put a bunch of stacks of these on there. As you can see, for an auto attack thing there, that's quite a lot of damage and it's killed them quite quickly. So that's a really cool one because even if you do that once, you're going to have a couple of things on there. Vulnerability is going to mean all your other skills do more damage, and then obviously damage over time with your bleeding and your poison. So that's a really cool ability there for your number 1. So your number 2 ability on the main hand dagger is Double Arc. So this has a 7-second cooldown and it's rip your blade through your foe twice, inflicting heavy bleeding. Your pet's next 2 strikes inflict poison. Okay, so this is going to attack twice on the enemy in front of you. Once again, close range. It's going to stick bleeding on the enemy, and then your pet's next 2 strikes inflict poison. So you're buffing your pet strikes to do poison damage, and you're going to do bleeding as well. So all of this is sort of based around conditions, as you can see, but it has base damage to the skill anyway, but you know, obviously a bit of damage over time to add to it as well. So let's try this out now and see what this does. Bang, bang, there you go. So 2 quick strikes there, putting stacks of bleeding on the enemy there, and then our pet's next attacks are obviously going to do poison as well. So more stacks of conditions in there, more damage over time, even better. So your number 3 skill on your main hand dagger is Instinctive Engage. So this only has a half-second cooldown. This is leap forward and slash at your foe. Gain quickness if you successfully strike. So this can be done from 400 distance, so not that far away, sort of low to mid range. So you're going to jump at them, and if you successfully strike, you're going to gain quickness, which means your skills and actions are faster. Oh, it does say there actually, so yeah, it's only got a small cooldown, but it's actually, sorry, an ammo skill, so you've got number 2 here. So it's actually got a recharge time of 15 seconds, but you can use it a couple of times. You've got to wait for the recharge to be able to use it again after that. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So see how far away we can do it. So we're gonna leap at them, and as long as we hit them, we're gonna also gain quickness, which means we'll be able to use our other skills. So it's a good way to enter combat and buff yourself at the same time. So let's try this out. Bam, there you go. So we've got quickness. There you go. Look, we're attacking even faster, which means we'll be able to do more damage, stick more conditions on there quicker. And as you can see, that's going to do damage over time as well. But as it's an ammo skill, you can see it's coming back there, and then boom, you've got 2 again. So I could go like that, and it's only got a half-second cooldown. I could use it again there, link it up with my other skills. As you can see, with quickness means you can put more damage in and more conditions on even quicker. So you'll be able to stack all those conditions nice and quickly, doing a decent amount of damage there. And obviously, as it's only a main hand, you can pair any offhand with it, have a couple more skills on your bar there to make it even more powerful. Alright, so that's the new weapon. So the next thing I want to have a look at is the new and exclusive healing skill for the Soulbeast. Okay, so the next thing I want to have a look at is the new and exclusive healing skill for the Soulbeast. So this is our first look at one of the new stance abilities. So this is called Bear Stance and has a 30-second cooldown. So it's heal yourself and your pet. Lose conditions while in this stance, healing for each condition lost. So you've got the initial heal, so you're going to give yourself a nice big heal and your pet as well, so that's obviously good. But on top of that, it's going to put you in bear stance for 5 seconds. And each second you're going to be able to remove 2 conditions from yourself. So obviously, you know, if you're using this in the middle of a fight and you've got quite a lot of conditions on yourself, you're going to be shedding them really quickly. So 2 every second for 5 seconds. So, you know, if you just need a heal, it does, you know, it satisfies that as well. But also, you know, if you're fighting someone that's put a lot of conditions on you, it's just that extra added bonus there to help you stay alive. And obviously it's going to heal your pet as well. So, you know, everyone with a Soulbeast is going to sort of be pet related, as you can imagine. So it's good that it does that as well. So let's have a little demonstration of that. So, boom, really cool animation there. And as you can see, this bear stance is going to stay on you there for 5 seconds as well. Yeah, no, really awesome animation on the stance there. But as you can see, yeah, 30-second cooldown, so not too bad. And then us and our pet are going to be healed, so that's really cool. So that's the new healing skill. So the next thing I want to have a look at are the utility skills for the Soulbeast. Okay, so the next thing I want to have a look at are the utility skills for the Soulbeast. So as you can see, as always, with a new Elite Spec, we've got a whole new set of skills here. 4 new utility skills, all with the new type, which is stance skills. So I'm going to put the first 3 on my bar now, have a look, try them out, demonstrate them to you guys, and we'll have a look at the 4th one as well. Okay, so the first one is the Doliac stance, and this has a 60-second cooldown. So this is enter a defensive stance and remove conditions that impede movement. Prevent application of such conditions while in this stance. So as you can see, it breaks stun, it removes cripple, chilled and immobilize effects, grants stability, which means that you can't be knocked down, pushed back, pulled, any of these movement impairing effects as well. And the actual Doliac stance there lasts for 5 seconds, as you can see, and has minus 33% incoming condition damage and minus 33% incoming damage. So it basically makes you tankier for 5 seconds while also breaking stun, which is always useful, and removing, you know, if you've had like immobilize or chilled or something put on you and you need to get around, use this, and you know, you'll be able to start moving again straight away, and you'll also stop those abilities from being able to put on you for another 6 seconds as well. So it's quite a few different things there. So let's give this a go, hoping for another cool animation here. There you go, nice awesome Doliac. So there we go, Doliac stance, stability, stacks of that as well. So that's pretty cool there. It's got quite a long cooldown there, but it's a good defensive ability that's going to you know, if you're in the middle of combat and they're using a lot of movement impairing effects on you, then you know you're going to be able to break those and you know resist them for a little bit as well. So it's pretty cool while also taking less damage. So you're able to you know, deal out some damage without taking so much yourself. So that's a pretty cool defensive ability. Your next one is Grip and Stance. This has a 30-second cooldown. This is evade and gain endurance. Your endurance recovery is greatly improved. You gain might and super speed when you evade attacks. Alright, so you're going to gain endurance, so your endurance recovery, so obviously you know, your endurance bar here that you're using to roll around, that's good. The recovery is going to be improved. You're going to gain might and super speed when you evade attacks, so if you use this and then evade an attack, not only is your endurance going to come back quicker, but you're also going to be able to do more damage because you're going to get might, and also super speed, so you'll be able to move around quicker. So this is all based around movement, you know, being able to move quicker while, you know, giving you a bonus for dodging as well as giving you some endurance recovery as well. So let's give this a quick go now. Boom, there you go. As you can see, endurance is coming back quicker. If I dodge an attack, I'm going to get buffed as well. And yeah, really cool animation there. And it during when it's being cast there, so evade and gain endurance. So obviously, if you use it when you've got lower endurance, it's going to bring your a big chunk of your endurance back, as well as you saw that animation it did when I first did it on actually evading attacks for that period of time as well, so I won't actually be able to be hit. So that's pretty cool, extra little thing there. Your third utility skill for the Soulbeast is Mower Stance. This is a 40-second cooldown. So this is gain boons and increase the duration of boons you grant while in this stance. So as you can see, you're going to get boons put on you: protection, fury, swiftness, regen, you know, all of those. And while you have Mower Stance on, which is for 10 seconds, you're going to increase the duration of boons you grant by 20%. So if you're buffing allies and yourself, then you know the duration of those are going to last longer. So it's just a pretty good buff there. But you know, the main thing is that initially it's going to give you a bunch of buffs on yourself just to make yourself extra powerful for you know, like sort of you know, 5 or 6 seconds, 8 seconds of regen by the looks of it, 6 seconds of swiftness, fury, 3 seconds of protection. So it is going to make you harder to kill, as well as making you faster, making your health come back, and doing a bit more damage as well. So it does a bit of everything, so that's pretty cool. So let's give this a go, see what this looks like. Refresh. Nice, there you go. So as you can see, moving around really quickly, I've got all these buffs on myself, making me more powerful, quicker, and less likely to take any damage as well. So that's a pretty cool one there, that's going to buff you up. And let's just swap over to the fourth and final utility skill here. So this is Vulture Stance, and has a 30-second cooldown. While in this stance, striking a foe inflicts poison and grants you might. So this is going to last for 6 seconds. So whenever you hit an enemy, you're going to be giving yourself might. So you're going to be stacking might on top of yourself, which means you're going to be doing more damage. And you're also going to be putting stacks of poison on the enemy, so that you could be they're going to be taking damage over time as well. So a bit of a double bubble. So buffing your damage and putting conditions on. So it's a pretty cool one to just whack out in combat, especially if you're going to hit them a bunch of times. It has got an interval of 1/4 second, so you know you could, well, there's quite a lot. So you could hit 4 times a second, so that's pretty impressive. So let's give this a go now. I'll use this and then hit, and we can see extra stacks of poison with my skills already. Look, there you go. We've got to 12 stacks of poison there, and you saw just how quickly we took down that medium golem as well. So the damage output there is actually really impressive. So that's a pretty good utility skill to whack out there to have you make you even more powerful. Alright, so that's all of the new utility skills for the Soulbeast. The next thing I want to have a look at is the new and exclusive elite skill. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the Soulbeast's new elite skill. So this is an elite stance skill, as you can imagine, and it's called One Wolf Pack, and it has a 60-second cooldown. So this stance means that your successful attacks will trigger a second strike while in this stance. So as you can see there, you've got, it can only happen once every 1/4 second, so you know, pretty much all the time, and the strike delay is a 1/4 second as well. So effectively, every time you attack, 1/4 second later they're going to get attacked again. So in theory, you could be, you know, doubling your damage output here, or at least adding a lot of damage to your output for the 6 seconds that this is active. So if you use this and then obviously use a bunch of skills afterwards, they're going to be hitting the enemy multiple times. They're going to be getting a bunch more hits put on them, and that's going to be a lot more damage as well. So this is a pretty cool buff. So let's give this a go now. So I'm going to put this on myself, and I'm going to try and hit this guy and just see. Have a look out for the, the extra strikes that we're going to do on this guy as well. So let's have a look. Okay, yeah, as you saw there, as I was hitting him, just a slight delay, just a quarter of a second later, he was getting an extra attack on him as well. So it's just stacking that damage on top of the enemy, and it can be a really powerful buff there, especially if you're hitting the enemy quite a lot. It's going to be sticking a bunch of extra attacks on them to do some extra damage. Alright, so that is all the new stance skills, and that's the new elite skill. The next thing I want to have a look at and talk about is the new profession mechanics for the Soulbeast. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about are the profession mechanics for the Soulbeast. So I want to have a little look how it changes the base ranger. So we've already been through a lot of the stuff already. We've got the new dagger in the main hand there, which gives us some new weapon skills. We've also got all of these new stance skills, which buff us and our pet, which is really cool. But the main thing we haven't spoken about yet is the beast mode. And obviously if you look here, everything looks pretty much the same as it normally does for the base ranger with your pet and everything like that. And then the difference is obviously this F5 button here, which, as you can see, beast mode, meld with your pet. And I'm going to go into that in detail now. So if you go into your pet management window, you've got all your normal stuff here. You've got the, for whatever pet you've chosen, you've got their abilities that they can use in combat there, as well as your F2 ability that you can actively use there, which obviously you'll find there. That's all exactly the same. And just under that, obviously, you've got this here, which is Soulbeast. So this information it gives you here is specific to the Soulbeast. So what this is these are the skills here that will become available to you when you merge with your pet. And we'll go into that in a second. And this here is the archetype of your pet. And there are quite a few different types of archetypes, and I'll go into that in a minute, and that just defines one of the abilities on this new bar. Okay, so by pressing F5, and there is no meter that builds up to be able to use this, and there's no time frame that you can use it for or anything like that. It's completely unrestricted. You can go in and out of beast mode as you see fit. The only restriction is that when you come out of it, there will be a 10-second cooldown before you can go back into it. So just to demonstrate, if I press that, me and my pet are now going to become one, and there's obviously this cool animation here, lovely animation along the bar there, which is enough reason to stay in it just for that. And there you go, you can press F5 to separate from your pet and leave beast mode at any time. But as you can see, your normal abilities here, your command abilities, and then your F2 for your active ability for your pet, have all been replaced by F1 to F3 skills here. So this is like a little skill bar for your pet. So as you can see, your pet's no longer following you around, so it doesn't actually have its own separate physical form. So you may be thinking initially, like, if you don't have to leave beast mode, why don't you stay in it all the time? Well, obviously one of the main reasons for that is because you're one with your pet, it doesn't have its own physical form, therefore it can't aggro the enemy and stuff like that. So if you rely on, like, say, like a bear pet to go in and tank them while you attack, obviously you can't do that. So that is something to bear in mind. And the abilities on your new beast mode bar do have cooldowns as well, so you might want to come out of it while they are on cooldown and go back into it and use them again. So there are reasons to come in and out of beast mode. You don't stay in it all the time, but it is, good, and it does make you more powerful as well. There's a little buff here, and I'll be going into that. That depends on the archetype, so I'll be going through the different archetypes in a minute as well. So your F1 and F2 abilities here are defined by your pet's family type, and there are about 18 or so different family types for pets. So I'm not going to demonstrate every single one of them because that's going to take too long, but I will just quickly tell you what they are. So you've obviously got armoured fish, bear, bird, bristleback, canine, devourer, drake, fangdeboga, feline, jacaranda, jellyfish, moa, porcine, rock gazelle, shark, smokescale, spider, and the wyvern. So those are all the different pet families, and every single one of those is going to have its own F1 and F2 abilities unique to that family. So I'm using a Wyvern right now, so I'll demonstrate what the F1 and F2 abilities are for the Wyvern. So first of all, you've got Tail Lash, and it has a 12-second cooldown. This is sweep your foes along the ground, crippling them. So it's got a quite a short radius of 180. It does damage to up to 5 enemies and cripples them as well. So I'm going to demonstrate these abilities as I'm using them as well. So bear in mind, these are only for the Wyvern. So you might want to, if you have a particular pet you like to use, you might want to try out what abilities they have. But I just want to demonstrate what these are going to look like. So there you go. Spinning ability there. Sticks cripple on the enemy as well. And, you just have to be within a relatively close range to them. So your second Wyvern ability is Wing Buffet. So it says 25-second cooldown. So launch your foe backwards with mighty wing beats. So this can be done from a range of 240, so that should be pretty close, and you'll knock up to 5 enemies back a distance of 300. So let's try this out. There you go, nice there, it's a nice animation, so you'll be able to knock back enemies there, which is pretty cool. So you have all your abilities along your bar, and these are just extra ones that you can use as well. So your third ability, your F3 ability here, isn't defined by the pet family, it's defined by the archetype. And I'll explain what they are now. So there are a few different archetypes in the game. These are stout, deadly, versatile, ferocious, and supportive. As you can see, this is versatile, and each pet has its, will be one of these archetypes. And you can have a look in your pet window to check what they are. So first of all, the archetype will give you a particular buff. So the versatile buff here is merging with a versatile pet has improved your health and concentration. So it buffs those two things. So depending on what archetype your pet is, you're going to have a different buff on you there. It's also going to define your F3 ability. So because we're a versatile archetype, that's given us the Prelude Lash, which has a 25-second cooldown. So pull foes towards you and bind them briefly. So this can be done from a 300 range, and it can hit up to 5 enemies. It's going to pull them towards you and immobilize them. Obviously it won't work that well on the target golems, but let's just demonstrate this. You see it pulled enemies towards us and immobilize them for a couple of seconds as well. Target golems go back to their original location, but that would work pretty well if you wanted to bring your enemies closer to you and obviously immobilize them at the same time. So what you should do is have a look at the pets that you like, have a look at what pet types you like, obviously try out the new F1 and F2 skills, and then obviously link that with one with an archetype that you're into as well. Do look at what buffs they give you as well as what your active F3 ability will be, because they'll make quite a big difference to you. Like this one is like buffing my health and my concentration, so if that's what you need as part of your build, then that's obviously what you want to do. That's obviously only while you're in this beast mode, so do bear that in mind, and you can come out of it any time to separate from your pet once again, as I'll demonstrate now. There you go, and then you can go back to normal. Your pet can attack separately. You can use your F2 active abilities, and then after 10 seconds beast mode will come back, and then bam, there you go, you can do that. And if your abilities have come back, you can go back and you can try this out once again. So it's just a few cool new abilities to try, and obviously there's a bunch more to look at because you've got all the different pet families, all the different archetypes, so a bunch of different combinations you can put in there. So it might change your mind on what pet you normally like to use, because their abilities might be something that you really want to use. So it is, it does give you quite a few more choices with your build, because you've got these extra skills, and you might want to integrate certain pets into that which fit your certain play type. Okay, so that is the new profession mechanics for the Soulbeast, which I think are pretty cool and are very good for rangers who are very pet centric. So if you're really into using a pet and you wanted to get more into that, then the Soulbeast is definitely the elite spec for you. So the next thing I want to have a look at is the actual elite specialization and the individual traits within it. Okay, so the next thing I want to have a look at is the actual elite specialization here, and have a look at the individual traits to see how you can customize your build even more. So obviously you've got to have it on your third spec here because it's an elite spec, and just by having it on your bar you gain a dagger proficiency, which is you can wield a dagger in your main hand, which is something we've already been through. Here you get elevated bond, which is gain access to stances And survival in a desert has enhanced your connection to your pet, granting you the ability to meld with them by entering beast mode. So this is all of the things that, you know, the base things for the Soul Beast that we've already been through, and you gain access to that just by having it on here. So your first choices, you've got fresh reinforcement. So entering beast mode grants you the boons affecting your pet. So any of those boons there that they've got on them, so if you've buffed your pet up quite a lot, as soon as you go into beast mode, those buffs will be transferred over to you. So that's pretty cool. Next up, you've got live fast. So using a beast ability grants you offensive boons. So any of the you know, the abilities that you had, your F1 to 3 while you're in beast mode, which are your beast abilities, they'll grant you offensive boons. So you can see fury and quickness and stuff like that. So whenever you use them, you're just going to be buffing yourself even more. Here you've got unstoppable union. So entering beast mode grants boons and removes movement impairing conditions. So just, you know, basically rewarding you for going into beast mode. You're going to be putting protection and vigor on yourself, as well as removing, you know, cripple, shield, immobilize, any of these movement impairing effects. So it's just more incentive to go into beast mode. So this passive here is Furious Strength. So you deal more damage while you have Fury. So 7% increase in damage while you've got the Fury buff on you. Your next choice is Second Skin. So conditions inflict less damage to you while you have protection. So damage reduced by 20%. So you're going to have, for any stacks of protection you've got on yourself, conditions are going to be doing 20% less damage to you as well. Next, you've got Essence of Speed. So gaining quickness increases the duration of other boons affecting you. Okay, so, you know, whenever you get quickness on yourself, which to be fair, there's quite a few skills that come with the Soul Beast that do put quickness on yourself, it's going to increase the duration of the boons that you've got on yourself. So if you put a lot of buffs on yourself, they're going to last an extra 2 seconds, as it shows there. Here you've got Predator's Cunning. So when you apply poison to a foe, steal some health from them. So obviously if you're using the dagger quite a lot, we saw there's quite a few like poison effects there. So whenever you're applying poison to an enemy, you're going to steal health as well. So it's basically going to make that even more powerful there. Your next passive here is Twice as Vicious. So disabling a foe increases your damage and condition damage for a short duration. So any disabilities you put on an enemy, if you've got a lot of those in your build, then this is going to be good, because it's also going to increase your damage and condition damage for a short duration. So 5% increased damage and 5% increased condition damage for 10 seconds when you do that. So your next choice is you've got Eternal Bond. So while in beast mode, if you would be downed, you instead fall out of beast mode and recover health. See, do bear in mind, this says at the top here, it does have a 300-second cooldown, so you're going to be waiting 5 minutes, so it can only happen every 5 minutes. But to be fair, it's pretty cool, because as long as you're in beast mode, if you run out of health, so if you normally would be downed, you'll actually come out of beast mode and recover a decent amount of health there, and it puts protection on you as well. So it just sort of means that while you're in beast mode, you actually won't die from taking fatal damage, so it gives you a chance to stay alive. So that's a pretty cool one there. Here you've got Leader of the Pack. So stance skills gain increased duration on you and grant their effects to nearby allies for a reduced duration. So if you're using stance skills a lot, and if you're often going to be in a group situation, this is pretty good, because it's going to increase the duration of the stance skills, but also it's going to put the effects of those stance skills on nearby allies as well. So if you're working with other players, it's going to help buff them as well, giving you more of a support role. And the final one here is Oppressive Superiority. So deal increased damage to foes at a lower health percentage than you. Conditions you apply to foes at a lower health percentage than you last longer. So as long as the person, the enemy you're fighting, has a lower health percentage, so if you're on 80%, they're on 70%, then you'll have this buff, and that'll be a 10% increased damage, as well as a 10% duration increase to conditions you apply to them. Once again, as long as they're on a lower health percentage than you. Alright, so that's all of the traits for the Soul Beast Elite spec. So last thing I'm going to do is throw together a quick Soul Beast build and do a little combat demonstration for you guys, just to show off what it looks like when it all comes together. Okay, so we've thrown together a quick Soul Beast build here. So we've obviously got the exclusive dagger here in the main hand, with an offhand dagger as well. And with our next weapon, we've got the greatsword. So we're just showing off here how you can have a completely melee ranger, which is a really cool element of the Soulbeast there. We've got our stance skills along here. We've got the stance healing and elite skills, as well as 3 of the stance utility skills, just so we can try those out. Pet wise, we've got the juvenile electric wyvern there, and we've also got the juvenile tiger. So let's try this build out and just see how we get on. Alright, okay, so that shows off a lot of the basic Soulbeast abilities there, all the stances, having a look at some of the beast abilities as well. Obviously one of the main things that we haven't looked at is all of the individual beast abilities you can get, but to be honest, it's probably good that you have a look at the particular pets that you like and what archetypes you actually like the look of, just so you can try out what's good for you. So I would say that covers everything for the Soulbeast for now. So if you have any more questions about it, then stick them in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and like and subscribe to be kept up to date. If you want to watch any more detailed class guides on any other different classes or elite specs, do check out the playlist on my channel, because I've done pretty much all of them now. There's not too many left. And if you want to watch a video that covers every single class and every single elite spec in one video, then I've got that as well, so try that out. So see you later guys, goodbye.